It's midweek. You're halfway through, but we don't coast. We don't wait on perfect. We get up, show up, and keep moving forward. It's Run the Riot midweek motivation. Let's go!
Hey there, my friends. Welcome to a midweek motivation from the Run the Riot podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm training here. This week, my mileage is going up. I am running right now 5 days a week. I am lifting 3 days a week. And so that means one of my days has to be a double. And that's my Wednesdays. And so I'm figuring it out, To be honest with you, thinking about Bigfoot, I got a mix of emotions. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. That sucker's hard, man. Most of I've already attempted it before and, DNF'd. I'm very aware, of what needs to be done to get it done. And this is where it starts to get, in training a little inconvenient, It's not impossible. It's just inconvenient, and during this part in training, it's when a lot of people they check out. A lot of people, they say they want to run an ultra, or they say they want to bump up their distance and run a new distance, or go further than they've ever done before, or faster than they've ever done before. And they want to prove something to themselves, and they want to see what they're capable of. But a lot of people, they have all these ideas, and they see the videos, they see the Instagrams and the YouTubes and everything else, but they don't really ask, like, what does that actually require? When I talk to runners I'm about to coach, we kind of talk, a lot of them, some of them ask, like, hey, what's this going to take, and what's it going to look like and all, but some of them don't. And so we have a conversation about that, about what it's going to look like, because you need to know what you're signing up for, because to do the thing, you got to do the things to get ready to do the thing, So, because it's not just about showing up and the, I was going to say glamour. There's not a whole lot of glamour, but the warm, fuzzy idea of showing up on race day and being ready. It's not just about that, which is good. It's a good feeling to put the work in and then show up and the race is finally there. But it's about, the early mornings when that alarm goes off and you didn't sleep real well, or you got to bed late because of, I don't know, kids or softball tournaments or whatever, it's running when your legs are still tired from the day before. It's lifting when you'd rather just, I don't know, take a break, sit down, hang out for a little while, sit down at the gym and play on your phone like some people do. It's finding time in your schedule when your schedule is, already full. That's the part, like, a lot of people don't talk about or post about a whole bunch, that's the part that's not very exciting. It's just the grind, it's not all the mountaintops and the yay, I'm running and I've had a runner's high, and it's all these parts that just feel kind of inconvenient, Sorry, I gotta have my cup of coffee right now. Inconvenience is like, it's the barrier, Here's what I'm seeing more and more. People aren't quitting because they're not capable. They're quitting because the goal starts to interfere with their comfort, starts to interfere with, their what they find easy in life. It interrupts the routine. It demands time that they didn't really plan for. It asks for energy that they never wanted to really give or never thought they'd have to give. And instead of adjusting their life to this goal, they adjust the goal to fit their life. And that's where it dies, man. Man, because if you got a big goal, it doesn't adjust to you. The goal is the goal. It's there. And big goals don't care about your schedule. They don't care that you had a long day at work. Don't care that it's early in the morning. They don't care that it's not really convenient for you to get out and run right now. It requires what it requires. And I'm training for Bigfoot right now, and life is busy, dude. We got softball tournaments coming up for my daughter, and we've got work is busy. Got graduation coming up, at the school I work at, and we just got a lot going on. It's gonna be a busy summer leading up, projects at work leading up to Bigfoot. But you know what? 200 miles, it requires what it requires. Now, hear me clearly. Like, listen, I'm not saying you ignore your responsibilities. Like I can't quit my job. Like I'm just not gonna do my job, and I'm just not gonna handle any of my responsibilities around the house. Jim would be really happy about that if I just totally checked out. No, I can't do that. We got a job, we got a family, we got real life, and I'm living that too. You know, Y- and what I'm saying is, if the goal matters, you'll have to reorganize your life around that goal, not perfectly, but intentionally. And here's what it looks like for me right now. I'm getting up early. That if you listen to the podcast any amount of time, I get up early. You probably even know I'm pretty much up at 4, usually at 4 o'clock every morning. Yeah, it is 4 o'clock. Sometimes a little bit earlier. I just got to get up early before the day starts and get it done. And I'm running when I'd rather stay in bed. I'm lifting when I'd rather stay in bed. Man, I had a solid run this morning, with some speed work in the middle, and my legs are a little tired. And then tomorrow morning I gotta get up and lift, and then I'm gonna run tomorrow night while Autumn is at softball. At her practice, I'm gonna go run, and that's gonna be my 2-a-day. So I'm having to fit it in, like, while she's practicing, with her team. I'm gonna go run, and so lifting tomorrow is gonna be in. My legs are a little tired, but I'm gonna go lift. At Wednesday, it's a double because I got you guys know I enjoy working out, but Bigfoot is a beast. There's a lot of climbing. I've got to get the lifts in. I've got to have my legs strong. I've got to have my core strong. I've got to be strong all the way around to be able to do it. So I've got to get 3 days of lifting in. And so that's what I got to do. I got to do a double on Wednesdays. And so we just try to figure it out. And there's nothing really like glamorous about it. It's not like, I don't know. And I don't post all my workouts and junk like that, but I'm working, dude. If you follow me on Strava, you see it. Follow me on Strava, you see what I'm doing. And I don't just post it all over social media. Every now and then I'll post stuff, but if you want to see it, you follow me on Strava. If you, whatever. I'm not saying it's wrong to post it. You ain't got to post everything, but whatever. So, there's nothing glamorous about it. It's just doing the thing. It's doing the grind every day. It's not pretty. It's kind of like tires for your car. They ain't pretty. They smell funny, but you got to have them, and training, it ain't always pretty, make you smell funny, but you got to do it. All right. So on my run this morning, it was hard, but I enjoyed it. Sometimes you got speed work in there and you're like, oh, I'm just going to run for the whole time. But this morning, man, I did the speed work, did the steady state in the middle, and it just made me tired, and it was good, and it wasn't because it felt easy, but it was like, I'm doing it and I'm like, this is the work. This is the work. This is what I got to do. I'm building something right now. I got a goal and I got to do it, and this is the work that I've got to do. And so, if you're going to do something big, whether it's your first ultra, your furthest ultra, or you're trying your fastest distance, your fastest ultra, whatever, you've got to stop asking, is it convenient? It's just not going to be. You got to start asking, is it required? Like, yeah, I've got to do the run. It's required. It's not convenient, but I got to do it. Those are two totally different questions. Convenience, it leads to comfort, man. Comfort is like the chair. It's the enemy of growth. It's the enemy of progress. Requirement, it leads to growth. Most people, they want to wait for the ideal conditions. Like, hey, I'll run this race when this happens, or when this thing's clear up. And what I'm finding is, like, man, life's just always busy. There's always something. People say, well, I'll start when things slow down. I don't know about you, but things speeding up. I'll train when life isn't so busy. Pfft, whatever. I'll go after it when the timing is better. Well, sometimes you just gotta make the timing, and I don't know what's all going on in your life. Sometimes there's some legit things, but man, sometimes you just gotta do the thing. You gotta sign up for the race, you gotta put your training on the calendar, and you gotta do the thing. And so I'll just save you some time. That perfect window, I don't think it ever comes. Life doesn't clear out a space for your goals. You've got to carve it out. Sometimes you got to get a hammer and a chisel and chisel that stuff out. Sorry, man. I got to have my coffee. You just gonna have to listen to the sip if you listen to this one. Um, so, um, and there's a principle on this that goes beyond running. In Luke chapter 16 and verse 10, um, in the Bible, it says, whoever can be trusted with very little can be trusted with much. And that applies here. It's not just about the miles, it's about being faithful with what's in front of you. The early morning, the short run, the lift you don't feel like doing. Uh, you building character in those moments, man. It's not easy. And sometimes we want to choose easy, but we have to not do it. And while we're the choosing the hard, it changes us. I was talking to a runner I'm coaching, and this was just, and he's gonna hear this. He's gonna know I'm talking about him. I'm not gonna name him because this is our private conversation. But I was we were talking, and like, man, he's crushing his training. Like he's hammering, dude. He's putting in the work. And we were just talking and he's like, "Man, I changed how I'm presenting myself and how I even how I'm dressing a little bit and just not looking like I guess a bum or something." He didn't say that, but he's like, I want to present myself. I'm doing good. I want to present myself good and feeling good. And like, so he's got this whole outlook on his life but it's because he's making these decisions and he's building himself into something, and that's bleeding into the rest of his life. And even in his job, he's, sharing with me some things that he's doing and he's moving up. And so, man, these principles, they work, dude. It bleeds into life. And so if you're sloughing off in training, you'll slough off in life, I have a feeling. And so, there's a cost, but there's a reward. Let's be honest. Yeah, it costs for race entry. These races aren't free. Some of them are pretty expensive, but the food, it costs the food. It costs, when you got to buy the things for the race and the gels and the electrolyte mix and all that. But the time, it costs the time. It costs comfort. It costs energy. But here's the trade. You're trading temporary comfort for long-term growth. You're trading ease for becoming something stronger. And when you start stacking those days, man, something shifts. You stop seeing inconvenience as a barrier, and you start seeing it as a confirmation that, hey, I'm doing what it takes. You know, you're like, okay, I could have chose comfort, I could have chose easy, but I'm out here doing the thing. I'm doing what it takes. And so let me ask you, what are you what are you saying you want right now? What is it? Is it a certain race that you got to sign up for that you hadn't signed up for? Is it a distance? Like you're like, man, I did a 50 mile. Man, that 100's been calling my name. Well, are the 200 or whatever it is. Or maybe it's just in life, dude. It's a version of yourself you hadn't reached yet. Like you want to get education, man. You want to grow yourself some kind of way. Um, but if you have those wishes and those aspirations and those quote goals, but you don't do anything about it, like, let me ask you, are you structuring your life in a way that supports what you say your goal is? You know? Like, I wanna do this race. All right. Well, I'm gonna start being disciplined about my practice. You've heard me say this, consistency over time is success. If you want some success, you need consistency over time. I was talking to Jeff Browning, Bronco Billy, and that's what he said, consistency. That's the most important thing, you know? And so building consistency, are you waiting for it to just fit conveniently into what you're already doing? We gotta be intentional. It's just not gonna accidentally fall in. And so remember this, man, the goal doesn't adjust to your comfort. You adjust to the goal. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start being the person um, who can actually reach that goal, reach that mile, reach that speed, whatever it is. I know there's some of you listening right now. You're thinking, man, I want to do something big, but I don't even know how to make it fit into my life. And That's kinda where most people get stuck, and then they just stop right there. It's not because they don't maybe they even have the drive. They're just not sure what to do. They don't have a clear plan that works with their schedule. Um, man, I'll just tell you, that's a big part why I do coaching. I help people, like, plan around their real life, and help them figure out where they can make their sacrifices. It's kind of crazy because I'm pretty regimented in how I do stuff. And sometimes I'm making people's schedules and I'm like, dude, this would drive me crazy to run like this, but we got to do what we got to do to fit it in. And we're fitting it in and we're making it work. And so and I love doing that, helping structure people's training so they're not guessing and giving them accountability, you know? Because some of them like, man, I didn't want to run, but I knew there was gonna turn red in Training Peaks. I knew you were gonna see it, so I had to stack some green, man. I had to do it. And so hey, look, if that's where you are, go to the www.terrio.run and check out the website. It's terrio.run/coaching, or you can go to terrio.run. It's spelled the riot.run, and click on that coaching button and see what it's about. And there's a little button there you can click and set up a call and we can talk about it. I've got a couple spots open right now. But whatever, dude, like you don't necessarily need that, but I'd love to help you, to build something that actually works. And so, man, I just want to leave you with this today. Don't wait for it to get easier. Start building a life that can handle what you're asking for. Start building a life that can handle what you need to do to get to your goal. And guys, take one more step. That's what I got for you today, guys. Build that life. Do those things. Set the big goals, but do the work. And don't sit around just being comfortable all the time. Hope you're doing well, guys. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I don't move fast, I move faithful. Pressure on my chest, but my faithful world saying quit. Take a break, cool. But the cross on my back ain't graceful. Legs burn, lungs tight, road long, dark mile, no crowd, no theme song. Just me and the voice that I lean on, saying keep going, son, breathe strong. I've hit walls that I built myself. Doubted God, tried to will myself. Ran ahead, tried to fix my steps. Ended up flat on my face, fell helpless. But grace met me in the wreckage. Mercy showed up in the pressure. I ain't strong cause I'm fearless. I'm strong cause I trust my shepherd. When the pain says stop and the doubt gets loud and the night feels long and the crowd ain't around, I don't need hype, I don't need applause. Just one more step, that's enough. Relentless, forward progress, step by step, no promise. Not perfect, just pressing through the fire. Keep stretching. If I crawl, I'm still moving. If I fall, I'm still choosing. Faith over feeling, truth over what I'm seeing. Relentless. 100 miles in the heat of the doubt. Aid station empty, I'm bleeding out. Spirit willing, but my flesh worn thin. That's when the real race begins. See, anybody runs when it's easy. Anybody shouts when it's breezy. But obedience when it costs you something. That's belief, that's really not dreaming. I don't chase comfort, I chase calling. Don't chase platforms, I chase falling. On my knees in the quiet morning. 4 a.m. and my pride dissolving. Life ain't measured by highlight reels. It's measured in private meals. And miles no one ever sees. And prayers that nobody feels. You want growth, slow grind. You want depth, it's long night. You want faith, it's closed doors. Still saying, Lord, I'm yours. When the pain says stop and the doubt gets loud and the night feels long and the crowd ain't around, I don't need hype, I don't need applause. Just one more step, that's enough. Relentless, forward progress, step by step, no promise. Not perfect, just pressing through the fire. Keep stretching. If I crawl, I'm still moving. If I fall, I'm still choosing. Mud on my knees, heart still beats, that's enough for me. Storm in my chest, fear in my head, but you said walk, so I step instead. Not fast, not flash, not famous, just faithful. Not fast, not fast, not fast. Relentless forward progress, through doubt and through darkness. When I'm weak, you're strongest. That's the promise. If I limp, I'm still moving. If I'm lax, I'm still choosing. Kingdom over comfort, cross over convenience. Relentless.